Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Sorry. Today we're going to be well, first of all, my friend sent me this video that he really wanted me to react to, so his name, shout out to him. His name is Jorge Esparza. Oh. And yeah, I think I shouted him out at some point, like once. So we're gonna react to some video that he wanted me to watch. So yeah, let's just react to this video. I don't know why I have. Excuse me. I don't know why I have to do this, but whatever.
Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary? You've heard of the Slender Man, but have you heard of the tall, slender woman? This next chapter is a Japanese urban legend called Hachishaku-sama, which means 8 feet tall. My grandparents lived in a small village in Japan. Every summer, my parents would take me there on holiday to visit them. The last time I saw them was the summer when I was 8 years old. My grandparents were inside the house, and I was playing by myself outside in the backyard. I heard a strange sound. I didn't know what it was, and it was hard to figure out where it was coming from. I was looking around, searching for the source of the noise, when I noticed something on top of the tall hedges that enclosed the backyard. It was a straw hat. It wasn't resting on the hedge, it was behind it. That's where the sound was coming from. Then the hat began to move. It stopped at a small gap in the hedge, and I could see a face peering through. It was a woman, but the hedges were high. Almost 8 feet tall. I was surprised at how tall the woman was. I wondered if she was wearing stilts or some sort of huge high-heeled shoes. Then, a split second later, she walked off and the strange noise disappeared with her, fading into the distance. Confused, I got up and ran back into the house. My grandparents were in the kitchen drinking tea. I sat down at the table and told my grandparents what I had seen. They weren't really paying attention to me until I mentioned that distinctive sound. They both froze. Grandma's eyes grew wide and she covered her mouth with her hand. Grandpa's face became very serious and he grabbed me by the arm. "This is very important," he said, very intensely. "How tall was she?" "As tall as the garden hedge." "Where was she standing? When did this happen? What did you do? Did she see you?" I tried to answer all his questions as best as I could. He rushed out to the hallway and made a phone call. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but after he hung up, he walked out the door. "Grandma, what's going on?" "There's something dangerous abducting children in this area," she said. "We call it Hachishaku-sama. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and says, in a deep voice. A long time ago, it was captured by monks and they managed to confine it in a ruined building on the outskirts of the village. They trapped it using 4 jizo, small religious statues that they placed at the north, south, east, and west of the ruins so that it could not escape. But somehow, it did. The last time it appeared was 15 years ago. My grandmother said that anyone who saw it was destined to die within a few days. It all sounded so crazy. I wasn't sure what to believe. Just then, my grandpa came back, but with an old woman who called herself Keisan. They took me upstairs to my bedroom and began covering the windows with newspaper, with ancient runes written all over them. Keisan placed small bowls of salt in all 4 corners of the room and a small Buddha figure in the center.
"Soon the sun will be setting, so listen carefully. You must stay in this room until 7:30 tomorrow morning. Do not open this door for any reason."
She placed a bucket in my hands.
"Not even to use the restroom."
My grandparents and Keisan left the room.
He has to pee in a bucket.
And I locked the door after them. I couldn't believe what was happening. Was I really going to die in a few days? I turned on the TV to try to take my mind off everything and eventually fell asleep. I was awakened around 1 a.m. by a tapping sound on the window. It's probably just a tree or something, I told myself. Then came a knock on the door, and I heard my grandpa's voice. Are you okay in there? If you're scared, I can come keep you company. Hearing his voice was such a relief that without thinking, I rushed over to the door. But something didn't feel right. I looked at the bowls of salt in the room. All 4 of them had turned black. And then I heard the sound again. The tapping on the window continued. I knelt in front of the Buddha and began to pray. I was so terrified and caught up in my chanting that I didn't realize the sounds had stopped. I checked my watch. It was 7:30 a.m. Carefully, I opened the door and ran to my grandparents. We all got in a van and headed straight for the airport. Apparently, there were others who had escaped the grasp of Hachisakusama as long as they never stepped foot in Japan again. So 2 years ago, when my grandpa got sick, he refused to let me visit him. He even left strict instructions in his will to not let me attend his funeral. I couldn't believe that this creature prevented me from saying goodbye to him. So when my grandma called a few days ago to tell me she had been diagnosed with cancer, I wasn't going to let her stop me from visiting. It's been 10 years, Grandma, and nothing has happened to me. We don't even know if this thing is real. I'm not going to let it stop me from seeing you. If you say so, dear. I love you, Grandma. I'll see you soon. Have you ever been mistaken for someone else? I know the feeling. When I was younger, I would constantly be confused for my older sister. It didn't help that my mom would dress us alike and give us the same haircuts. I was so used to being called the wrong name or having teachers claim they saw me elsewhere. Now, years later, I've heard numerous stories about people seeing a family member only to have the real family member walk in moments later, or people seeing someone in one place while witnesses swear they saw that same person somewhere else. Looking back on it now, I wonder, what if there really was someone other than my sister being me? In this next chapter, we'll be discussing a curious phenomenon, doppelgangers. In paranormal terms, a doppelganger is a ghostly duplicate of a living being. According to superstition, seeing a doppelganger is a bad omen and a messenger of death. There are several famous cases throughout history. In 1603, Queen Elizabeth I had walked into her bedroom to find herself in terrible condition. Soon after, she became ill and died in that very bed. In 1796, Catherine the Great was awoken one night by her servants, claiming that someone who looked exactly like her was sitting in the throne room. Confused, she got up and went to the room and was shocked to see herself sitting in the throne. She ordered her servants to shoot at the imposter, but their bullets had no effect, and the double dematerialized. Within a few weeks, Catherine had died of a stroke. After being elected in 1860...
Okay, that's weird. Hopefully you guys don't get nightmares from this. Because, that is some creepy stuff right there. I mean, the first story was creepy enough, but this one is kind of strange. And by the way, these are urban legends, so they might not be real. So
Abraham Lincoln looked in a mirror and saw not one, but 2 reflections. One was Lincoln as he was, and the other was pale and sickly. He and his wife saw it as a sign that he would be elected for a second term, but wouldn't live to see it through. And we all know how that ended. Maybe it's just a coincidence that all of these people had seen their doppelganger before their untimely demise. After all, not every case ends in death, like the story of Emily Sagy, a school teacher in France. Despite being kind and friendly, she had a difficult time keeping a job. She was fired 18 times from multiple schools because her doppelganger was terrifying everybody. On numerous occasions, staff members and students claimed to see a second Emily standing right beside her, mimicking her every movement. But the most famous incident was during a sewing class at an all-girls school. The room was filled with 42 students, with the supervising teacher sitting in the front.
That is a lot of kids. 42? Oh my god.
The room had giant windows that faced the garden, and everybody could see Emily, energetically and happily picking flowers. For whatever reason, the supervising teacher left the room. Suddenly, the students noticed that Emily's movements were slowing down, like her energy was being drained from her. Then, in the empty teacher's chair at the front of the classroom, a figure appeared. It was Emily. The girls couldn't believe what they were seeing. There were two Emilys, both in plain sight. They tried speaking to the figure in the chair, but she didn't respond. So one girl mustered up the courage to try and touch her. She slowly approached the apparition, reached her hand out, and passed her hand right through it. "What does it feel like?" the other girls asked. "Like thick cobwebs." Then the doppelganger disappeared. The girls looked out the window to see the real Emily as she continued to walk through the garden as before. The horrified girls told their parents, who then complained to the school staff and had poor Emily fired again. Despite the many appearances of her doppelganger, Emily herself had never seen it. Doppelgangers are also common in the Philippines, where they're called Gaya Gaya. Chelsea Braganza shared this story.
Wow. Hopefully hopefully that doesn't happen to me, because that is creepy.
Her dad, Floyd, and her uncle, Fred, who had a puzzling run-in with one. When Floyd and Fred were in their teens, they were at home one day waiting for their friend Susanna to come over. There was a knock on the door, and there she was. "Hey, you're early," Floyd said. But she didn't say a word. Instead, she walked straight past him and into the bathroom. He thought it was pretty strange, but figured she just had to use the restroom really badly. Some time had passed, and Susanna still hadn't left the bathroom. Floyd needed to use it, so he knocked on the door. No answer. It had been at least an hour. "Hey, is everything okay in there?" Still no answer. They decided to pick the door open, shielding their eyes just in case they walked in on something they didn't want to see. But they didn't see anything. It was completely empty. The bathroom had no windows. Where did she go? Did you see her leave? No, did you? Just then, there was a knock on the door. It was Susanna. "Oh, we didn't realize you left the bathroom earlier." "What are you talking about? Weren't you here earlier?" "What? No, I just got here." To this day, they still have no idea what it was that walked into the house. Doppelgangers have appeared all over the world and all throughout time. Maybe it's our minds playing tricks on us. Or maybe that's what they want us to think.
Alright, I think I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching. That was really creepy. Hopefully you don't get any nightmares. If you want to see this whole video yourself, it's called Something Scary Volume 5, Urban Legends Story Time Compilation, whatever. I don't know. It's by Snarled. So if you want to check that out, make sure to go to this. Make sure you take a photo of that. And so just in case you want to watch the real video. But thank you guys for watching. If you did, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, hit that bell, and yeah, bye. Oh, bye.